A week before Christmas, I froze in the hallway, overhearing my mother chuckle over her latest plan. I wasn't going to be a guest at the holiday celebration. I'd be the unpaid caretaker for 9 energetic children. My chest tightened, yet I forced a smile. If they assumed I'd play the role of servant again, they had no idea what I was planning. On December 24th, when Mom called, "Where are you?" I laughed quietly and told her not to wait for me or the catered meal. They had no clue their picture-perfect Christmas was already starting to unravel. My name is Madison, 28 years old. Looking at my life from the outside, you'd probably think I had everything under control. I work as a data analyst at a tech firm, live in my own city apartment, earn enough to indulge in little luxuries and dine out when I please. My coworkers think I'm the one who has life neatly organized. They don't see the part of my life that twists my stomach every weekend. The part that revolves entirely around my family. I live about half an hour from my parents' house, close enough to be convenient, but too close to dodge responsibility. For a long time I didn't want to avoid it. I loved my parents, or at least I thought I did in that uncomplicated way children love their parents. But as I grew older, that love became tangled and heavy. Then there's my sister Laura. She's 34, married to her high school sweetheart Mark. They have 2 kids, Ethan 9 and Chloe 7. They're adorable, full of energy, and they adore me. "Aunt Maddie!" they shout, running straight into my arms every time I visit. That part of them melts me every time. But the rest, that's the part that drains me. Almost every Saturday morning without fail, there's a knock at my door. Sometimes I'm still in pajamas. Sometimes I've barely had coffee. Sometimes I'm still half asleep. It doesn't matter. The scene is always the same. Laura standing there beaming with Ethan and Chloe bouncing alongside her, backpacks ready. "Maddie, the kids are so excited to spend the day with you," she chirps, kisses them goodbye and leaves off to brunch, a movie, or a couple's spa day. 12 hours later she returns. Sometimes it's almost 10 p.m. I'm standing in a living room strewn with Legos, half-eaten pizza, and 2 exhausted children arguing over the remote. First, I told myself it didn't bother me. I was family. I loved them. That's what families do, right? But after the 10th Saturday, then the 20th, the love began to feel like exploitation. 3 months ago I reached my limit. It was Sunday morning, and the kids had just left. I sat at my kitchen table, breakfast untouched, my eyes burning from exhaustion, head spinning from the silence after the chaos. I called Laura. "Hey, can we talk about the Saturday thing?" I asked carefully. Silence stretched long enough that I thought the call had dropped. Then her voice returned, sharp and coated in that practice fake hurt. "Wow, Madison. I can't believe you'd even say that. You're being selfish. Mark and I work all week. We barely get time together. You don't have kids or a spouse. What else are you doing on Saturdays anyway?" I tried to explain that I wanted some time for myself, that my job was draining, that I deserved weekends of rest. But she wasn't listening. "You're ridiculous. Ethan and Chloe adore you. You're basically their second mom. Why would you deny them that?" I hung up, shaking with rage and humiliation. Somehow, she had turned my plea for boundaries into an accusation against her. And I was the selfish one. 2 weeks later, I tried again at Sunday dinner at my parents' house. The aroma of roast chicken filled the air, wrapping me in familiar comfort. "Mom, Dad," I began, pushing food around my plate. "I love spending time with Ethan and Chloe, but it's a lot every weekend. Maybe we could rotate so I get some time off." Dad barely looked up. "Those kids are family, Madison. You help family." Mom set down her fork and gave me that disappointed glance I remembered from childhood. "Honey, I raised you better than this. Laura works hard. She deserves time with Mark. You're single. You don't have responsibilities like she does. And honestly, taking care of Ethan and Chloe is the best preparation you could ask for. One day you'll be grateful for this experience." I opened my mouth, but Laura jumped in with that smug tone. "You can date on Friday or Sunday nights. Your friends can hang out with you and the kids. It's not complicated, Mads." Dad nodded. "Your sister's right. Family comes first." Something inside me twisted painfully. I wanted to scream, flip the table, demand to be seen as an adult, not a caretaker. Instead, I smiled weakly, nodded, and ate my dinner. I played the dutiful daughter. Driving home in the rain, I remembered a Christmas at 16. Laura had been 22, newly married, and wanted to attend a holiday party. Mom and Dad had said, "You'll stay with the kids." That night, I'd sat in the living room with 4 screaming toddlers, while the adults drank wine by the fireplace. That was the first time I'd felt invisible. 16 years later, nothing had changed. When December arrived, the scent of pine and cinnamon filled the air, and I dreaded Christmas. Deep down, I knew my family didn't see me as Madison the adult. They saw me as Madison the free babysitter. And I was starting to wonder how far they would push me this year. The first week of December, Mom called while I sat at my desk staring at spreadsheets, eyes aching. "Hi, sweetheart," she said in that sing-song tone that always made me wary. "I'm calling about Christmas. We're going to have a big celebration this year. Your Aunt Carol is bringing her 3 kids. Uncle Mike and Aunt Sarah are coming with theirs. And of course, Mark's parents and brother's family. About 25 people." I forced my voice steady. "That sounds lovely. What do you need me to bring?" "Well, I don't think I can cook for that many myself," she said, voice laced with subtle guilt. "Could you handle catering? You're doing so well at work, honey. The rest of us are struggling a bit." My grip on the phone tightened. Catering for 25 people wasn't cheap. How much would it cost? "About $2,000, she said casually. My heart sank. That was the trip I'd been saving for, my one chance to get away. But guilt hooked into me as always. "Okay, Mom," I whispered. "I'll do it." Her relief was immediate. "Thank you, honey. You're such a good daughter. I'll send a list of everyone's favorite dishes." When the call ended, I buried my face in my hands. One Christmas dinner, I told myself. Just one. A week later, the catering company called. "Miss Wilson, the honey-glazed ham is unavailable. Can we substitute roasted turkey?" I wanted guidance, so I called my family. Straight to voicemail. Mom, Dad, Laura, all unreachable. A prickle ran down my spine. That evening, I drove to my parents' house. Snow crunched under my tires. The neighborhood glowed with lights. I let myself in with my key. From the living room came my mother's voice, loud, cheerful. "Oh, Carol, it's perfect. Madison will be watching the kids. Don't bring activities. They'll be fine upstairs. We'll set up the back bedroom with movies and games. Madison can stay with them while we adults enjoy ourselves downstairs." I froze. 9, maybe 10 children, trapped upstairs with me while the grown-ups celebrated below. Mom's voice lowered slightly, but the smile in it was unmistakable. "It's perfect. Madison doesn't have kids of her own, so she isn't tired like the rest of us. She was the youngest, always buzzing with energy. Saturdays were her thing, but what was one more night?" I pressed my hand against the wall, my scarf wrapped tightly around my fist. Grandma had given it to me before she passed, and in that instant it felt like the only link holding me to the world. My stomach twisted. This wasn't an accident or some miscommunication. It was deliberate. They had never intended for me to enjoy the holiday. I was meant to serve. Except I wasn't hired. I was just assumed. I stepped toward the door again, my heart hammering. But the call ended, and the sound of Mom's footsteps grew nearer. I forced my voice into something calm. "Mom, I just got here." Her face was plastered with a fake delight. "Madison, what a wonderful surprise. What brings you here?" "The restaurant called. They're replacing the hams with turkey. Is that all right?" "Oh, turkey sounds perfect. Whatever you think, sweetie." Her smile was too wide, her eyes too knowing. I turned quickly, sliding into the car, gripping the wheel until my fingers ached. By the time I arrived home, I had made up my mind. I called the restaurant back. "Hi, this is Madison Wilson. I need to cancel my Christmas Eve order." "Cancel, Ms. Wilson? Christmas is next week. We can refund part, but it'll only be about $1,000 back." "That's fine. Cancel it." When I hung up, my chest felt both lighter and heavier. Then a memory surfaced, a call from months ago. Jessica, my old roommate, had invited me to Colorado for Christmas, promising a family cabin, skiing, cocoa, a real holiday. Back then I had said no without a second thought. Family came first. But now, staring at the refund email, I dialed her number. "Jess, remember that Christmas invite? Is it still open?" Her laugh bubbled through the phone. "Are you serious?" "Absolutely. I'll drive out on the 23rd. "Perfect. We're heading to the cabin then. When I hung up, I sank back on the couch, heart thundering with a new rhythm. For the first time in years, I wasn't going to follow their script. For the first time, I wasn't their servant. They had no clue what was coming. December 23rd arrived sharp and cold, the kind that bites your cheeks before you even step outside. I left work early, packed and loaded my car. The city roared with holiday frenzy, horns honking, people rushing. But as I hit the highway, the weight lifted. Hours later, I reached Jessica's parents' home in Colorado. Pine and snow hung in the air, crunching under boots like fragile glass. Her parents, Mike and Carol, greeted me with genuine warmth, as if I'd always belonged. That night we played board games until midnight, laughter spilling over the kitchen table. I couldn't remember the last time I had laughed so freely with my own family. The next morning we packed into their SUV and drove to the cabin. Straight from a postcard. Log walls, smoke curling from the chimney, snow-laden pines stretching endlessly. Inside, the scent of wood and cocoa welcomed me. Jessica showed me to a cozy room, quilts piled high, windows framing the mountains. For the first time in years, I felt Christmas might truly belong to me. That feeling lasted until about 3 p.m. on Christmas Eve. My phone buzzed. "Mom." Jessica raised an eyebrow. "Showtime," she murmured. I forced a smile and answered. "Where are you?" Mom's voice was sharp, edged with panic. "Everyone's here. The food was supposed to arrive an hour ago." I took a slow breath, staring at the fire. "I'm not coming, Mom." Silence. Then, cold and defensive. "What do you mean you're not coming? Don't be ridiculous. Get over here." I let my words drop heavily. "I heard you last week talking to Aunt Carol. I know about your plan to leave me stuck upstairs with 9 kids while everyone else enjoyed Christmas." Silence. Then, "You're overreacting. That's not what you heard." "I know exactly what I heard. I'm done." "And the catering?" she asked hesitantly. "I canceled it." Chaos erupted immediately. Voices shouting in the background, Laura's shrill tone, Dad's booming outrage. Then Laura grabbed the phone. "Madison, what is wrong with you? We were supposed to relax while you watched the kids. You're being selfish." I laughed, sharp and unexpected. "I'm tired of being your free babysitter, Laura, and your backup wallet. That's not my job anymore." "You think this is about money," she snapped. "You don't know what sacrifice means." "No, you're right," I said evenly. "I don't have kids, which means Christmas isn't about raising yours." Before she could respond, I hung up. Jessica stared, eyes wide. That was intense. "Are you okay?" I looked around at the cabin, the firelight dancing on logs, the scent of cinnamon drifting from the kitchen. I thought of my family panicking, their perfect plan crumbling, and felt a rare, unshakable relief. Better than okay. I'm free. I turned my phone off until Christmas morning. When I switched it back on, the screen was flooded. 43 missed calls, 27 unread texts. "Mom's first. Call me immediately. Where are you? This is unacceptable." Then came nastier messages. Venomous, accusatory. "Laura's, you are cruel. You ruined everything. The kids are miserable. Mark, your sister's crying. The kids are confused." Dad's words cut deepest. "The house was chaos. This is your fault." I read them all while sipping cocoa in a cabin full of laughter, snow falling silently outside. And instead of guilt, I laughed. For the first time, I wasn't trapped as the servant in my own family's story. But I knew it wasn't over. If there was one thing my parents and Laura couldn't tolerate, it was losing control. And I had just shattered it spectacularly. 4 days later, December 29th, a knock rattled my apartment door. Angry, insistent, impossible to ignore. I froze, coffee halfway to my lips. Through the peephole, I saw exactly what I expected. Mom, Dad, and Laura, faces tight with fury. I opened the door slowly. "Hi," I said. "Don't hi us." Mom snapped, sweeping past me as if she owned the place. Dad and Laura followed, shutting the door firmly behind them. The apartment felt smaller than usual, shadows stretching along the walls as the pale winter light seeped in. My father's voice cut through the quiet. "We need to talk." I set my mug down on the kitchen counter, keeping my tone calm. "All right. Let's talk." My mother turned to face me, her eyes swollen and rimmed with red. Her voice trembled with anger. "How could you do this to us, Madison? 25 people came for Christmas, and there was nothing. Nothing, my father added, his frustration sharp. The guests kept asking where the food was. We had to make up some excuse about the caterer. We looked like fools. Laura stepped forward, her cheeks flushed. Rick's family thinks we're completely incompetent now. His mother asked why there wasn't a backup plan. This is humiliating. And the kids, my mother added, throwing her hands up. 9 screaming children running wild, trashing the house. It was chaos. I let out a small bitter laugh. Oh, what a nightmare. Watching your own kids on a holiday must be so exhausting. Don't be sarcastic with us, my father snapped. You know exactly what you did. I straightened, meeting their eyes. Yes, I know. I chose not to be your unpaid helper or personal chef. I chose myself. You're our daughter, my mother sobbed. You're supposed to help family. I could feel my pulse racing. Help family? No. What you wanted wasn't help. You wanted me to pay for everyone's dinner, and then spend the holiday trapped upstairs with 10 kids while you celebrated downstairs. That's not help. That's exploitation. Laura's voice broke. You are so selfish. We work all week. We deserve a break on holidays. I don't work hard. I snapped back. I don't deserve a break? Why is your time worth more than mine? You don't have children, she yelled. You don't understand how hard it is. I gripped the red scarf draped over the chair, the one my grandmother had given me. Her voice echoed in my mind. Don't let anyone make you their shadow. You're right, I said quietly but firmly. I don't have children, which means Christmas isn't about me raising yours. Supposed to be about being together. But you never treated me like family. You treated me like labor. My mother's tears froze, her tone sharp as glass. Because of you, we'll never be able to host again. Aunt Carol said she won't come back. Uncle Mike left early. Rick's brother asked if our family always has disasters. Do you understand what you've done? I met their gazes, feeling no fear. You know what? I don't care. I don't care that your holiday fell apart. I don't care about the guests leaving early. I care about myself, and I've been used for years. Every Saturday, Laura drops her kids on me. Every holiday, I'm expected to cook, clean, babysit. Never once did anyone ask what I wanted. Never once were we equals. My father's jaw tightened. We're your family. Family doesn't manipulate. Family doesn't plan behind your back. I shot back. Family doesn't treat one of their own like free childcare. The room fell silent, thick with tension. Only the soft hum of the fridge broke it. My mother straightened, wiping her cheeks. Her voice turned icy. Fine. That's how you feel, then we're done. We won't invite you to holidays anymore. You can be alone. Good, I said calmly. Their eyes widened, expecting tears. You don't mean that, Laura whispered. I do. I'm tired of being everyone's servant. I have my own life now, and I'm living it. You'll regret this, my mother said, her lip trembling. The only thing I regret, I replied softly, is not standing up sooner. My father motioned to the door. Let's go. She made her choice. They left, my mother pausing only once to glare. Don't come crying when you see what you've lost. I won't, I said, and I meant it. For 10 minutes I stood in silence, the red scarf warm in my hand, until the tension drained. Then I grabbed my phone and blocked all their numbers. For the first time I had drawn a line, and I wasn't crossing it. The next few days were quiet, almost unnervingly so. No knocks, no chaos, no interruptions. I slept in on Saturday mornings. I made breakfast for myself. I watched the city from my window, snow coating the streets. The silence felt strange, but it was mine. Aunties and cousins tried reaching out. Each time I repeated the same line. When they're ready to recognize how they used me, we can talk. The silence that followed told me they weren't ready. And that was fine. For the first time, I wasn't waiting for anyone's approval. I was living my life. I started seeing someone new, Daniel. We had late dinners, walked through winter markets, and talked endlessly. I didn't check my phone and worry that my family would demand my labor. I was finally present in my own life. Sometimes I touched the red scarf, remembering my grandmother's words. Don't let anyone make you their shadow. 2 months later, the distance from my family felt like a healing scar. One evening, Daniel and I were finishing dinner when my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "We need to talk, Mom." I froze. Old habits tugged at me. Smooth things over, fall back into the old role. But then my eyes caught the scarf. A reminder of the boundary I had finally built. I didn't respond. Not now. Maybe not ever. Family shouldn't mean losing yourself. Family should mean respect. And I had finally learned that lesson. I set my phone aside, leaned back, and let the quiet settle. For the first time in years, I wasn't afraid of silence. Outside, the city lights blinked, and I knew the story wasn't over. But the next chapter would be mine.